Let me ask you the question.
Oh, do it.
What's something that you would like to see realtors do different?
Oh,
What's the problem you get from us on the applications and clients we send you?
I'd say two things. I know we've touched on both these, I think. I think the two things that I would say I wish realtors would do more of is do a buyer's presentation up front, either before the first showing or after the first showing. Do one free showing.
Instead of meeting them at the first house.
Yes. Or do your one free showing and then do it, right? I know that sometimes that's hard to do and you want to build rapport. I get that. But just doing a buyer's presentation and setting the expectation then, because otherwise the most common scenario, I don't know the statistic, I'm making this up, but if 80% of realtors don't do a buyer's presentation, it's probably much higher than that.
Do you know why? You know why they don't? Why do you think they don't?
So I think they don't because it could be a number of things. They don't know how to do one. It's too much work, and or they're afraid that they're going to scare off a buyer with telling them information.
It's the last one. So buyer's perspective is the way the process works is I look online, and when I'm ready to walk through one, then I call an agent. I'll worry about qualifying later. I'll worry about if I want to buy it later. They think it's voyeur to show, then start the process. Buyers don't see the process as talk to a lender, talk to a realtor, then look, then show. That's not how buyers behave. Buyers get on Zillow. Ooh, honey, look at this one. Ooh, I really like that one. Let's call the agent. The buyer sees the perspective different than us. So the skill it takes to convince a cold lead that just called you to do the process the opposite of the way that they want to is not a skill every realtor has. So that's why they don't do it, because it's easier to just show them the house. You want to see a house? Sure, I'd love to meet you. Off we go. Make sense?
100% makes sense.
But I don't work with any of those kind of clients. That's why mine are all buyer consultated first.
Yes.
You call me and want to see a house, I go, awesome. The first step is for us to meet and talk about your goals.
Yep.
No, I don't want to meet. I just want to see this house. Great. Who's your agent? Not me. No, that's not how we do business.
Yep.
Now, if I know you, we have a relationship, we've worked together in the past, and you call me up and want to see the house, I'm scheduling as soon as I'm available.
Yep.
But not if I don't know you.
I agree. I think that's so powerful, man. I think because the issue that I think you run into is if I'm going to say 90% of realtors don't do a buyer presentation. And then you have
it's the buyer's point of view is the issue.
Correct. Yeah. Well, then and that's compounded when 90% of the buyer's agents don't do a buyer presentation. And then we'll be conservative. We'll say 90% of lenders don't do any kind of buyer presentation.
Right. Here's the application. Here we go.
Oh my God. Then you have a buyer that has no idea what's going on.
Yeah. You and I are the weirdos.
Yeah.
We're not
100%.
the norm.
Yes.
We're not the norm.
So then you flip that on, and then you have either a realtor that just does the buyer presentation or just a lender. And that puts a lot of, I think it's kind of, I'll say kind of a lot of stress and pressure on that one person. They're the weirdo. For both weirdos together, the buyer, they have a better experience there.
Now, I honestly, there's a lot of my clients now that I don't do buyer consultations with.
Yeah.
Because they've worked with me 3, 4, 5, 6 times. This is not the first rodeo. They know we have a great relationship. And for them, okay, we're calling Shane again. Oh, we're still using Shane? Absolutely. Shane's great. He's still doing this. He isn't in the Bahamas yet.
Working on it. So I have an interesting, I have a client, so I've helped, I helped the wife with her first purchase before she was married. Then she bought another house. She bought another house with her husband. Her and her husband bought a house. And then now they are buying a third house. So I called and I said, hey, we got 2 options. I can give you the abbreviated or I can give you the deep dive. I'm doing stuff a little bit different. And the wife said, she's entitled. She said, sure, just give me the deep dive. And the husband said, well, hold on. I bought a house before and you helped me. You did great, Shane. But I've never sold a house and bought a house. This is totally different.
Yeah, it is.
Talk to me like I know nothing.
Yeah.
And then she was like pulling her hair out because, but he, so I've kind of taken that. I learned something from that.
Yes.
This is 60 days ago. Every transaction's a little bit different, or maybe it's a divorce, unfortunately, right?
Absolutely.
And you're helping people through a divorce. That's different than the 5 houses that they bought.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, no 2 transactions are the same.
Yeah.
No buyer and seller combinations are the same. There's no markets the same. There's no houses the same. There's so many variables. Real estate is not a cookie cutter process.
Yep. Yep. Agreed, man. I'd say the second thing that I wish realtors did more often, and it doesn't have to be me. I hope it's me. I wish it's me, but it doesn't have to be me. Is I'd say two parts to this. Part A is not getting their buyers to a lender early in the process and doing it when you find a house.
Yeah.
That's I think the craziest thing you could do. Number one, you're doing a disservice to yourself as a professional and your family, because you're saying yes to someone who might not be a real buyer. And then two, you're also doing a disservice to that buyer because they don't know what their payment's going to be. They don't know any of the details of the transaction. They don't know if they qualify or if they want to buy, right? Yeah. So I'd say that's part A. Part B is, again, this is where I hope it's me thing, but it doesn't have to be. Find a lender and have them talk to, not force them to use, but talk to every single buyer, if nothing else.
Yeah, and
just to reinforce,
I'd say from the realtor's point of view, have a loan officer that you know, like, and trust.
Yeah,
that has a process.
Yeah,
and does it the same every time. If you do that, you're doing your buyers a favor.
Yeah. And there's people that I talked to a guy yesterday. He's moving from Las Vegas. And he's moving over here. He's buying a house. He said, I've talked to 4 different lenders. Who should I use? Or why should I use you? I said, man, I have a process. I have a way of doing business. I think I'm good enough at doing my business for people to appreciate my process. You might hate me. And that's okay. There's 4 other lenders that you've talked to, and one of them are probably good. They're different.
I had a similar scenario like that. And I had a husband and wife interviewing me. And the husband had used me in the past, and the wife hadn't. The wife had her realtor, and the husband had his, and then they got married, and now they were going to decide which realtor from the 2 of them that had used in previous lives to sell this house.
Duel of the realtors. Duel to the death.
And they were interviewing both, and she asked me, why should I use you instead of my agent? And I just honestly said, you know what? I don't know. You should choose the agent that you know, like, and trust, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them, and the one you click and gel with that you trust is the best choice. So if you trust them more than you trust me, then use them, because that's going to be better for you. I'd be honored to serve you. I'd love to work with you guys and sell your house if you like me and trust me.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
I bet they used you.
They did.
Because you didn't say, well, let me tell you these 10 value propositions that make me different from every other person.
When you're getting started in real estate, you think that stuff is what matters to people because that's what they teach you in real estate classes and brokers and things. And here's your points of value and all this stuff. But that's not how real estate really works. It's based on relationships and service delivery.
Yeah.
And can they trust you to do what you say and get the job done? And like you said, have a process and use it.
Yep. Love it, man.